attesa. Null'altro prar mi resta, ecco vedendo l'acciarte muto e delle finte schiere. E Africa figlio, qui straniero son io, ma se rinserò un cuor,
perduto poi il mio tesoro.
Taci, non dispera.
Signori, Cliff Zammit Stevens, kulħadd jaf il-Cliff Zammit Stevens, grazzi.
Grazzi lilkom.
Biex tarana. Għaxa ħafna eċitament.
Palissa ħafna ġenna, xfadlilna 20 minutes biex nibdew il-general rehearsal.
U nirringrazzjak tarek. Kif ħassejtek? Tipprepara da?
Huwa dejjem unur li tkanta ovvjament Malta, id-dar tiegħek, pajjiżi u kif ukoll tat-teatru meravigliuż. U unur ukoll għax hija l-ewwel title role tiegħi. Otello hija waħda huwa wieħed mill-karattri l-iktar naħseb diffiċli fir-repertorju tat-tenuri, ġifieri hemm ħafna affarijiet għaddejjin, però ma nafx nisab kontent, il-preparamenti marru sew ħafna, ġifieri hopefully fingers crossed li l-udjenza jieħdu pjaċiru.
Nimmaġina li sa jieħdu pjaċir x'jidhirlek fuq is-set. Is-set kemm hu sabiħ.
Is-set huwa sabiħ ħafna, il-kostumi huma sabiħ ħafna, kollox naħseb team effort kien verament tajjeb, kulħadd ħadem tajjeb ħafna flimkien, ġifieri u l-enerġija tinħass dik dejjem importanti, meta inti jkollok armonija fil-grupp tiegħek, dejjem, hopefully toħroġ b'affarijiet ħafna ħjar.
Ġejjin il-familja tiegħek jaraw għall-produzzjoni.
Opening night kollha ħajkun huwa.
Għax inti għandek familja supportiva ħafna.
Supportiva ħafna, very, very, very close.
Taf kemm inħobbhom.
U dejjem inkunu hemm għal xulxin.
Tajjeb ħafna. Nixtieqek Cliff tagħti messaġġ lill-udjenza llum għax naf very short of time sa nibdew dal-waqt. Messaġġ minn
għandek. L-udjenza ngħidilkom li naħseb il-mużika universali, ġifieri kwalinkwa mużika tolqot lil kulħadd. L-opera li hija ovvjament waħda mill-isma' affarijiet u jekk qatt pereżempju ma rajtu opera u tixtiequ tesperjenzaw għall-ewwel darba, naħseb li din tkun esperjenza unika ġo teatru bħal dan u hopefully nbidlulkom femtkom u tkomplu tissapportjaw l-arti Maltija f'kwalunkwa form li, però l-opera wkoll importanti ħafna li nkomplu nissapportawha. Nissapportjawha.
Support.
Nissapportuha.
Grazzi ħafna Cliff. Edha ma' Cliff Zammit Stevens, Teatru Manoel, fil-produzzjoni ta' Otello. Sinjuri edha Maniko Darmanin u sa nitkellmu ftit miegħu sa nużaw il-lingwa Ingliża llum. Thank you Nico for actually agreeing to speak to me today.
Thank you for having me.
On a day when you're rehearsing and
yes.
I find that everyone's very excited.
Very, very high energy, as this is our last rehearsal, so to speak, and we hope that everything goes smoothly and swimmingly so that we can go in for our first La Prima with confidence.
So everyone's really excited. I was hearing them
Yes,
sort
yes.
of practicing. You're based in the UK right now.
I am at the moment, yes. I live in Norfolk, actually, UK. It's just easier to fly all over whenever I have different gigs and jobs that I need to get through in Europe. But I have a home in Malta as well. I'll be out a day.
That's good. Tell me a bit about this production.
It's a very period production, which is nice, to be honest. It's my first period production, which is a refreshing change, because it's nice to get into the abity, the clothes of the period,
Yes.
and to get a really
I have to say, you
feel.
look very.
Thank you. We have to
Yes.
give our gratitude to the
Yes.
designer. So yes, it's actually a very refreshing production in its own way, because everybody seems to be very well engaged in this period, and I think the intentions from every character come out more unique and more precise to what the period is like.
Have you worked with Cliff before?
When we were very young, very
Yes.
young, I think we were still teenagers, which is really nice to actually.
Are you about the
get
same age
together.
group?
I think Cliff is about a few years younger, 3 or 4 years younger than I am. And it's really, it's been a lovely experience. We've bonded, we've become really close, because only Rossini gives you so many tenors in the same production.
Yes,
that
it
gives
sounds
you the hours to
amazing. It
shine.
sounds amazing.
So it's nice to actually sing with him. I have a whole duet. I think it's been a long wait for him and I to actually get together on stage and sing together.
So maybe the next thing would be to do something abroad together.
Oh, it would be lovely. Why not? Yes, certainly.
What happens after this production and after Malta?
For myself, it is. I specialize as a tenor a lot in Rossini repertoire, so I have the next 6 months actually developing another 2 Rossini roles. One is Don Ramiro in La Cenerentola, Cinderella, basically the prince. It's a bit more of a virile role than this, because this Rodrigo is very high in Otello. And then I move on to La Donna del Lago, the Lady of the Lake, and I sing the King Uberto, who's in a disguise. And yeah, every role has its own kind of character, and I try and study as much as I can to be as
I'm
precise.
sure. I mean, going abroad, obviously it's raised the level for you.
Yes, it certainly
and obviously
has.
it's more competitive.
It is very. It was actually beautiful to start from Malta, because it gives you that drive, and that dream to do well. I now find myself very grateful that I live a life of music. So as a professional musician and artist, definitely you realize that abroad there is no room for error. So you always have to be very well prepared, very well studied, so you're always at the top of your game.
Yes. I thank you very much. I know you're coming to visit us, I hope.
It would be lovely.
Next week before you go back. I'd like you to give a message to the audience.
A message to the audience.
And you can look into the camera.
I believe from a very young age that whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve in life with dedication and hard work and perseverance. That's my message.
Thank you, Nico. Sinjuri Nico Darmanin fit-Teatru Manuel waqt il-produzzjoni ta' Otello. Sinjuri edha ma' Vivian Hewitt li ġiet hawnhekk għal tapposta biex tipproduċi din il-produzzjoni kbira li qed issir hawnhekk fit-Teatru Manoel. Thank you so much, Vivian, at such short notice for coming here to speak to me too.
Yes,
I love the
you.
set. I just love it. It's just amazing.
Well, the idea of the set was to go back to tradition, and Kenneth Samatalona said, well, isn't Venice Cadoro? We all said yes, of course, in a chorus. And this idea is based on the Cadoro. It's a very stylized version. It's beautifully white, it's very pure, takes the light beautifully. And what we've done is we've tried to create this mixture of red and gold and white, which is very much Venice.
It's beautiful,
Yes.
incredibly beautiful. Can you perhaps explain to our audience a bit about your background and what brings you here today, eventually?
Okay, well, I've spent more than 40 years in the opera world. I started very, very young when I was a student, and I come from Northern Ireland, and during the Troubles in Northern Ireland, opera was a very beautiful place to be because it was the only place where there was no prejudice of any kind about religion, race, your background. It was a wonderful solace to be involved in opera. And then I studied in Italy with an Arts Council scholarship, an Italian government scholarship, and I went on to work with the Puccini Festival. I've been working with them since 1983, and I'm their longest serving director. But in the meantime, I've done, I think, 76 operas. I think this is my 77th production.
That's amazing.
So it's very exciting. I was here in 92, 93, 94 at the Manuel and with Maltafest. And so it's very exciting for me to be back in the Manuel. It's a really beautiful theatre and with a great sense of history. It's one of the oldest.
It's so compact and yet so beautiful.
Yeah, one of the oldest in Europe too. Real working theatre.
And grand at the same time.
Very grand.
Compact and grand at the same time.
And with a wonderful staff.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful people to work with, which is an important part of theatre life.
Kenneth was saying that you've known him for a very long time.
Yes, because I've known Kenneth since I came to do Don Giovanni here, and we did it in the square in Medina, and he was very much involved in that. He was very helpful. He managed to find me a proper shroud, a winding sheet for the Commendatore that was yards and yards of purple velvet and magnificent silver embroidery. I will never forget it, and we've been friends ever since. And so when he said to me, we met in Rome quite casually a couple of years ago. I saw that he was in Rome, and I sent him a message and said, "Shall we have a coffee?" And he said, "Well, would you come back to the Manuel?" And I said, "Yes, of course, because it's a lovely place to be."
Yes. How did you feel working with the cast here? How many are there, first of all?
Okay, well, it's a very good cast. We have, it's an opera that has 6 tenor roles, in this case sung by 5 tenors.
Yes.
Because one of them is off stage, so the young singer Alan Shibras, who is singing Lucio, is also singing the voice off stage of the gondolier, who has one of the most beautiful arias that you can ever imagine. We then have a soprano, mezzo-soprano contralto, Desdemona, not Desdemona, but Desdemona in Italian, and her friend Emilia. And then we have Otello, of course, Cliff Zamet-Stevens, who is this young Maltese singer who's very, very fine to look at on stage, very glamorous.
He's a beautiful,
yes,
beautiful
lovely voice,
boy.
Lovely presence. And Nico Darmanin in the role of Rodrigo, because in this version of Otello, everything is set in Venice. The operatic world had to adapt a lot because Shakespeare in 1816, believe it or not, was almost unknown in Italy and very unfashionable. And it only began to become slightly fashionable in Neapolitan circles of the period because there were a lot of English visitors.
Sure.
Britain was allied to Naples, and so Shakespeare started to be read in the Neapolitan salon parties. And from this came this extraordinary work. I don't know how Rossini was brave enough to write it, because it's a genuine tragedy. It's about a coloured hero from a diverse background, a very fine and courageous man, who is surrounded by people who are racist and who deliberately, Iago in particular, who is the really bad guy of the story, makes him believe that the lovely Desdemona, whom he has married against her father's wishes and her father doesn't know they're married, is really in love with Rodrigo the Doge's son. And so he creates in Otello's mind an enormous fragility, and in the end, of course, Otello will kill Desdemona, only to discover that Iago had perverted all the people in the story and drawn them into his net. So it's a wonderful story to stage.
It is.
This wonderful Venetian setting.
Yes.
And I hope that people will appreciate the very grand Venetian costumes, because everything is based on Titian and on the works of his cousin Cesare Vecellio, who created the first costume book of the period, so you can actually look up and see what people wore in Venice in 1580.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. What do you think of Maltese talent?
I think you have a lot of talent. I think it needs, like everywhere, a lot of opportunities, a lot of development. Your biggest single problem is that you really only have the opportunity of doing in the whole of the Maltese Republic 3 operas in a year. So 2 on Gozo and 1 here. Fortunately, this year there is another. There is another production here,
Yes, I understand
which will be Pelopera, which is a very exciting opera altogether, because it's an opera. It's the very first time that the world will hear it after more than 250 years. By an opera by Girolamo Abbos, a Maltese composer who lived and worked in Naples and Rome in the mid-1700s. So it's great there is another opportunity to hear a second opera here, and hopefully with some Maltese singers and some Maltese talent in it. I believe that people need to be given talent at home, but I also believe they need to be enormously encouraged to go abroad and compete.
Yes.
Because the hardest thing is benchmarking where you are. If you're a big fish in a small pool,
like you are here,
it's very easy to think, oh well, I'm singing a lot, I'm doing really well.
Yes.
So the next step is stardom. And instead, I think people often don't realise that making your way into the major theatres nowadays is so competitive. It's a very long, hard road. Being a singer is a very tough job, because you have to look after your health very well. You have to study very hard, a huge amount.
And I think these days you've got to be more multi-talented and excel.
Yes, you have to act as well, but then of course you had to in the 1700s as well.
Absolutely.
But you have to be a good actor, you have to be glamorous, you have to be aware of your image. It's very taxing for singers, because they often just want to crawl into a hole when they've finished studying, they've finished long rehearsals, but they can't do that anymore. They have to be on Instagram. But I think there is a lot of talent about. I think it's hugely important that it gets opportunities, and I think it's also hugely important that it is contaminated by other international singers. Now, we have in this cast Valentina Mastrangelo, who is a young singer, a young Italian singer, who is singing in very major international theatres. And I think for sopranos in this country to look at what she has achieved, she's still very young, is interesting to see, but how did she do that? And I think it's also interesting for the young people, we have some interesting voices in the chorus as well, to listen to singers like Cliff and Nico, who have gone abroad, but also to singers like Roberto Iacchini, who is working internationally as well, and to sort of understand, well, what do I need to do to become like that? What is the challenge that I'm facing?
To achieve that level. What's on for you after here? Where are you off to?
After here, I think there is an important job on Puccini, which I can't talk about at the moment, but it's connected with Puccini, like a lot of my work. There's very certainly going to be a new documentary about his life and his relationship with places, and probably another musical work. After that, I'm back here with Pelopera.
Oh, how lovely.
Which I'm really looking forward, because it's new music. It's a totally big challenge because nobody's ever heard it. So that's very exciting, and it's a very exciting design team that will be announced very soon, I think. So I'm very delighted with that. And then, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this because I'm in the manual, Aida with Gozo.
Yes,
I did Bohème
Kenneth
with
did
them.
speak
Yes, I
about it
did.
also.
I did Bohème with them last year, and it was very successful. I did Tosca the year before.
Yes.
These are two of my signature.
So we will be
operas.
seeing
I've
you
done a
again,
lot.
and I'm
Yeah,
really
you'll be seeing
glad.
me a lot.
I'm really
But
glad.
I have to say, I've been very happy here. It's a very good experience. It's very challenging sometimes
Yes.
because this is not a big staff opera house with lots of excess.
No.
It's
We work with small resources here.
Exactly.
Yes, in
But-
the arts we do.
Yeah, but I have to say that you work very well with them, and that I think you deserve a little bit more recognition. And I hope that this will be the kind of show that will be really enjoyed by the public, because in the end, I'm a director who really needs to feel empathy with the public. I need the show to make the public happy,
Yes.
and to walk out of the theatre saying, wow, wasn't that a great night I had?
You want to feel that the audience have enjoyed
I
themselves.
want, yes, because life is so difficult nowadays. Our modern
and it's a bit of
world-
fantasy coming here.
We
and
need
just-
fantasy, we need relaxation, we need escapism. And sometimes that's thought to be a dirty word. But if it was such a dirty word, the major international broadcasting companies would not be making The Vikings or Game of Thrones.
No,
People
exactly.
need to
We
escape.
need that. We need
it's a
fantasy.
healing.
I love fantasy.
It's a healing
Yes,
experience.
yes, it is.
It's an
It
absolutely
is.
healing experience.
It is.
And I hope that people will come here and really enjoy how much this Otello
Yes.
belongs also to this setting, because
Yes.
I think you can see there's a sort of a continuity.
Absolutely, yes.
It looks as if this has always
Yes.
been here.
Yes.
So hopefully,
It looks like it should
Yeah.
stay.
yeah.
also.
And when you see it lit, it's really beautiful because it changes colour very easily. So with lots of beautiful lighting effects.
Beautiful.
And I hope people will really enjoy.
I'm sure they will,
the
Vivian.
experience.
I'm sure they will. I
Thank
thank you
you.
very much, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Signori Eda ma' Vivian Hewitt ġewwa it-Teatru Manoel fuq is-set ta' Otello.
Ah sì, per voi già sento nuovo valor nel petto, per voi d'un nuovo affetto sento infiammarsi il cor. Ah sì, per voi già sento nuovo valor nel petto, per voi d'un nuovo affetto sento infiammarsi il cor. Per voi d'un nuovo affetto sento
xi ġmiel, kemm ħadd gost naraħ dak il-feature, nispera li ħadtu gost intom ukoll. Nirringrazzjakom għal darba oħra li kontu miegħi. Repetizzjoni ta' dan il-programm jikun it-tnejn fil-għaxija matul il-ġimgħa jkollkom lil Charles u Marbek waqt Life and Style. Nirringrazzja llum lil Michael Farrugia għad-direzzjoni tiegħu u lil crew hawnhekk in-Net TV. Nixtieq ilkom il-weekend tajjeb.